Magandang araw sa lahat ng subscribers ng Larga na Podcast. Welcome po dito sa SMX Convention Center. Nandito po tayo ngayon dahil, of course, ongoing ang Philippine Readers Festival. Nilipat namin ang studio ng Larga na Podcast dito naman para lahat ng mga bisita dito na hindi natin maiimbitahan sa studio, may guest naman natin dito sa ating podcast. Ngayon, meron tayong special guest na very special kasi bihirang-bihira siya nandito sa Pilipinas. From Oklahoma, the defending champion, 2025 defending champion of the Pitmasters Cup. We have with ourselves Mr. Dan Miller from Oklahoma. Sir Dan, can you greet the viewers of Larga na Podcast?
Yes, I want to thank everyone for inviting me back to the Philippines. One of my favorite places to be.
Why is it one of your favorite places to be?
Well, this is where I feel more at home. This is my kind of lifestyle, and so every time I come here, it seems like I make more friends and gets harder to leave.
When was the last time you were here?
I believe it was October.
October.
Yeah.
Oh, that was just a few months ago, and you're back again.
Yeah.
And then you're also here last February.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you fought in the Pitmasters Cup. So it is your third time this year to be in the country, or fourth time?
Fifth time.
Fifth time.
Yeah.
We had an interview before, right after you won the Pitmasters Cup. Is the joy of winning still there after a few months of victory celebrations?
A derby like that, to me, every time I think of it, I'm hoping the rest of my life, will bring joy. That is a prestigious derby. So yeah, I'll always enjoy, thinking of that win.
How did winning the Manila Arena change your life?
It made me a lot more friends in the Philippines. But that was one of the things I kind of told y'all before, that there's a lot of guys over there and they're really good guys and they really fight good. That was just my time to win. So, but it definitely has changed my life. It made it to where it was a lot easier to come here and be able to do other things.
Here in the Philippine Readers Festival, you brought in some of your breeding materials, a few brought in a few stacks, and they were gone in a few hours. They sold like hotcakes. That's a kind of stature that you have now in the hearts and minds of the Filipinos. What can you say about that?
Well, I've never really considered myself a commercial seller.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that I'm too hard on chickens, but like the ones I brought, those are really good, and I don't mind sharing, at all with people. Matter of fact, I really enjoy it because I want people to enjoy roosters as much as I do. So I was glad to see them go in a hurry, but it kind of makes you sad too in a way, because you really want more people to be able to have them, and the look on some people's face, when they get there a little bit late, and they only lasted 2 hours.
Hours.
Yeah, and so maybe next time I should bring more.
We opened the gates of the PBF at 10 a.m. So before lunchtime, all of your 10 were gone.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
Well, it brings you joy knowing that people want your bloodlines, enough to come pick them up that fast. But like I say, it makes you sad too, because there's some people that, they really want them, and you just don't have them no more, and you have to tell them no. And I don't really like telling people no like that. So, but like I say, maybe next time I can bring more and and be able to share more with the people.
You brought in 10. What were those 10 stags, if you don't mind? Can we mention the bloodlines, the crosses? Are they for breeding or for a show in the pit?
No, these I brought in are strictly roosters that I would breed myself.
Mm-hmm.
They were 5 Kelso roosters and 5 gray roosters. And, it's really no secret. I've told everyone, those grays, uh, they're the old Joe Good that I had bred Brownhead into, and so. But now, even though they're crossbred, those roosters they're meant to breed. Now they could go and win anytime. I fought some, but still they're really good roosters, and they cross well on almost anything.
What do you like about those grays? Those grays won in the Manila Arena. Those grays made you very popular here in the Philippines. What do you like about those grays?
They've got a lot of heart. Those roosters there, they never have a bad day at home. It can be raining, it can be hot, it can be, ice on the ground. Those roosters just never have a bad day. They always act good and feel good. They give 110% anytime you start conditioning. So, to me, that means a lot to me.
What's the secret to those grays? Do you think it's a bloodline or it's the way you raise them?
I really think it's a combination of both. Anytime you have roosters like that, you've got to start with a brood pen. But after the brood pen, they've got to be healthy. And if you hadn't got health, the brood really don't matter. So it's to me, it's every little step that you can take makes one big thing. And to me, that's what you have to do with any breed.
Yeah, can you share some of your secrets when you raise roosters? When they're starting from the time they're chicks until they become cockerels and until they become for them. What are the secrets to your racing program?
I don't really think there's really any one secret, but the main thing is to have good brood fowl, and then it needs to be healthy brood fowl. But then when you get those eggs, take really good care of those chicks. You're going to need to deworm them, delouse them, feed them the correct feeds. Try to do everything to keep that chick as healthy as you can all of its life. And that's a challenge in itself. It's a challenge in the U.S. and in the Philippines. But you're always going to run into something along the way. When you do, take care of it right then. Don't say I'm going to do this tomorrow. Do it today. That can mean all the difference in the world.
So that's an attitude that you have. If you have to do it now, you got to do it now.
Health. Always try to tell yourself, I want to raise these chickens as healthy as I possibly can. And when you have the mindset of raising healthy fowl, it'll make you do it right then. You don't want to say, well, I'll come back before I go home and make sure I do this. You'll stop what you're doing, you'll take care of it right then. You'll be way more proud of yourself and your roosters doing that.
So when you raise roosters in the US, what kind of feeds do you give them when they're already from day one, when they hatch as chicks, until 3 months and until 6 months?
The baby chick feed is pretty easy. I've told y'all before that I've always thought a lot of Gary Gillum. He taught me a lot, when I was younger about things and some of the things he would say, and I just remembered because I was always so fascinated, with how good he really was. But he always told me, to make sure that baby chicks had enough protein in their feed, because that was going to be trouble that you would have as far as your, picking feathers or, or in their breeder.
Yes.
So to me, starting out with a good protein in your feed, and I like it to be 24%. That's what I like. And then making sure that you're deworming on a schedule.
What's a good schedule for deworming?
21 days.
21 days.
Every 21 days, you should be worming.
So when they're baby chicks, you use the liquid dewormer.
Yes.
Yeah. You mix it with the drinking water.
With their water. Yeah.
Okay. As they grow older, what type of feed do you decrease the protein and increase the carb intake, or?
Well, yes and no. It's you don't really feed after they get, to me, 7 to 8 weeks old and they start more free ranging out on the ground. they'll naturally cut themselves back a little bit, but that's when I start introducing more grain,
More grain,
to
yeah.
them.
More carbs.
Yeah, more grain and even pellets, because that's what your goal is, to get them on those, when they're older anyway. So probably by the time they're 10 to 12 weeks old, according on the group of chickens and what time of year it is, the earlier months, they seem to want to stay on the higher protein feed a little bit longer for some reason, but they'll start weaning themselves off and start going more towards the grain and pellet. And, after they get on that, then, you're kind of home free then. It always seems to be like I have more trouble with chicks when they're still eating baby chick feed.
How come?
Versus, I really don't know the answer to that. But it seems like, I don't know if it's the age that they're finally becoming, but once they get on the grain and pellet mix, it just seems like they just start growing a lot altogether different. So maybe it's their age, that does that. But I think protein means a lot, to a baby.
Yeah. What do you think are the differences between the feeding rituals here in the Philippines versus your feeding program over there in the US when you raise chicks up to the time they're corded?
Well, in the Philippines, I really think y'all's feed might not be quite as strong as ours. I think maybe your soil is a little bit weak compared to ours. And there we have a frost or a freeze that kills a lot of disease in the ground.
Yes, yes.
And I think that might contribute a lot to the way the grain is even raised, like corn and and oats and milo. So I think the U.S. feed may be a little better.
That's what everyone says. Even the breeders here in the Philippines, they always say the difference between the Philippines and the U.S. is the feeds that they give the roosters. So would you agree?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you plan on setting up a breeding farm here in the Philippines?
Yes, I've already got it in the making.
How do you intend to correct the deficiencies in terms of nutrition?
I think it's going to be a challenge for me, because even though I'll gladly take the advice of some of my friends and partners here, but it's still something that I'm going to have to see with my own eyes. A lot of things, I don't understand until I'm the one trying to take care of it.
Firsthand.
Yeah. And so, and that's what I enjoy. And so I'm sure there'll be a lot of challenges, but, I'm ready for them.
Yeah. So if protein is a crucial part of the diet of your baby chicks, how can you increase the protein content of our existing feeds? How can you rectify it? How can you correct it?
Well, for one thing, what I would start, from what I've noticed here, is I would probably be more apt to see what happens inside that chicken's body. It's not so much putting more protein in him right then.
Oh, yes.
It would be wondering why he's not using that feed like they use it back in the U.S. And to me, that would more likely tell of an intestinal problem, or a gut problem.
Okay. You earlier spoke about having partners here in the Philippines. Do you mind mentioning who among the Filipinos are your partners in breeding?
Well, Jeffrey Palomares is one of my partners here in the Philippines, and another guy, Charlie Chan. We're all three just kind of a team, and we're to be honest with you, it's kind of odd, but we're all the same age, and so we all kind of think alike and do things alike. So.
Can I ask your age, sir?
56.
56. You don't look it.
I feel older than that.
So 4 years from now, you'll be a senior.
Yeah.
You'll have a 20% discount in all restaurants here in the Philippines.
I almost can't wait.
But you won't get a discount on the feeds.
No.
So, your partnership with Mayor Jessry and Charlie, what brought all of you together?
The first time I came to the Philippines was 2018, and I really didn't know anyone. and it just so happened that I met Jessery, and so and Jessery and Charlie were good friends, and so that was kind of the first people that I met in the Philippines, and we've just always stayed friends, since then. The pandemic had hit, and when COVID hit, when I came over here, that gave me enough time after watching a few roosters here to go back home and start thinking to myself, what I was really wanting. And so by the time the pandemic was over and I could come back, then I was already kind of on my way, really.
Yeah. So, to what extent is your partnership with Mayor Jesse and Charlie? Do they breed for you, or do you just send them brood fowl and then they breed it on their own separately, or do you supervise both of their breeding programs?
Well, I don't really think that I would call it supervised because both of those guys are probably better than me. But the way that our partnership works, naturally I send chickens here, roosters that I raise in the U.S., but they also both raise chickens that are my bloodlines at their farms. And the way we are, we're not selling chickens commercially. We like to use those chickens ourselves. So Charlie raises some at his house, Jessery raises some, I raise some. We just put them all together. The ones that we think are ready to go, we take them and fight them.
What are the differences that you see in the fowl that you personally raise in the U.S. versus the farm that versus the roosters that are raised here in the Philippines by Mayor Jesse and Sir Charlie? What are the differences in terms of conformation, station?
I think that roosters raised in the U.S. are always bigger.
They're always bigger.
They're always bigger. The bones are a little bit bigger. I've noticed, their legs are even bigger, but they've got bigger frames. Here in the Philippines, it seems like they're a little bit more refined made, which makes them appear to be taller.
Yeah.
But that's really about the only thing. Jessery and Charlie both does a really good job of keeping roosters healthy. So, it's nothing that they're doing that's making them come a little bit more small. I honestly think it's just the ground.
Yeah.
And
maybe the weather also.
It could be the weather also, because in the U.S. a lot of people don't like to raise in the summertime because of their roosters being smaller. But like I say, over here it's a tropical climate. It's weather like that and ground like this is made for disease, and it's hard to control.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Well, it is unless you will tell yourself, hey, I better get me some disinfectant and keep it on hand. And that's what I will do here. That's the only thing I would know to start with. Make sure everything's disinfectant and keep it clean.
We spoke about the physical differences of fowl raised in the U.S. versus fowl that are raised here, coming from the same bloodline. What about the fighting ability and the performance of the roosters that are raised here versus the ones that are raised abroad?
I've noticed that it seems like the roosters that I send here that are raised in the U.S. and I send here, it seems like they may be a little stronger. But that kind of goes with the way they look.
Their bodies are built.
Yeah, I think that goes a lot, along with that. But it's not to say that roosters here aren't strong, because I see a lot of roosters that are. But I just feel like overall, they're really stronger coming from there. They just seem like their mental alertness is even more.
So yeah, those are. So it's still about bottom line. The bottom line is still about nutrition. Would you agree?
Yeah, probably nutrition and disease.
And the weather. And
weather always plays a part in.
Those are the three major factors. No, weather, nutrition, and the other one is disease.
Disease.
Yeah. Those are the three. Health.
Yeah.
Health. Yeah. So.
Yeah, just overall health is one thing that I can't stress enough with people. And a lot of times you don't realize, if you're not around your roosters enough, you don't really realize that they might be lacking a little bit. But if you will spend time with those roosters,
Yes.
you'll you can see it. You know, it's be as plain as the shirt on your body. You know, so
Even the good local breeders here in the country, they always say that you have to spend time
yeah,
with your roosters. You have to spend time with your baby chicks. You have to spend more time with the cockerels when they're already out in the range.
yes.
So same goes with you.
Yeah, and that's one thing I can't stress enough because I like to spend a lot of time with my roosters, and I like to see other people do that too because it makes me think, you know, they really care. They really care what's going on, and so yeah, I like to see people spend a little time in their chicken yard.
Yeah, speaking about breeders, can you name just one breeder in the U.S. that you consider as your idol, your mentor, or someone who you think is the best when it comes to breeding and raising game fowl?
Well, like I say, Gary Gillum I always thought was good, but now there's another guy named Steve Woodall, and he probably doesn't even know that I even listened as much as I did when I was younger. But you know, he spent a lot of time, you know, trying to explain to me, you know, the way he did things, and it always just made so much sense, you know, when he said it. And so a lot of the things that I do is just like he told me. You know, he did that, had very good success. I don't know if he ever left a breed of chicken that he was trying that he didn't make it better. And you know, if you're a true breeder, that's what your goal is. You know, you always want to make something better. So that probably Steve would be the guy that I would say that is probably what I would consider one of the best breeders.
Okay. Since you're here in the Philippines 5 times this year, you've been here for 5 times already. You've been around. You've seen the quality of fights here. Who do you think is the best breeder among the current crop of Filipino breeders, excluding your group, of course?
Well, you know, that would be a very tough one because there's a lot of people that,
Top of your mind, sir.
well, I really wouldn't even know who to tell you. I mean, it would be that close.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of the people that I see, and you know, they invite me to their farm, and when I go there, it just automatically, you know, I start thinking, you know, but you know, when I first got with Excellence and hung out with them a little bit, they took me to a place, Wild Creek, with Leo
Enriquez. In Nueva Ecija.
and when I went to his place and I seen everything and he kind of walked me around a little bit, I thought, oh my gosh, this guy here, he knows what he's doing.
He
So, you
means
know,
business. Huh?
and I even told him that, you know, I said, you know, this farm of yours is one that, you know, anybody, you know, would idolize you for this. And but now, like I say, I've seen a lot of good farms, but for some reason, in my mind, it runs back to his farm, you know. But I guess because everything that he did was making sense to me in my mind, you know, and so evidently me and him think a lot alike.
What did you like about his farm? Is it the appearance of his farm, the infrastructure, or the way he breeds? What impressed you? What impressed you with this setup?
Well, it was when we first pulled up, it was the cleanliness of his farm because that's at my farm. I'm that way, you know. I don't even like a blade of grass to be out of place, and you know, and his place was just immaculate. But then when we got out and started walking through brood pens, and he was showing me stuff, everything was perfect. Everything was just perfect, and so I thought, you know, this guy, he's good.
Oh, yeah. So shout out to Mr. Enriquez. We might we'll guest him soon in this podcast so that we can discuss whatever he's doing, the good practices that he does in his farm, so that other people may emulate what he does.
After seeing his farm, whatever he says, I would just do it. just 100% do it. You can't go wrong.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's talk about your entry name. Your entry name is Miller Time when you won the 2025 Pitmasters Cup last February. Why Miller Time? Are you a basketball fan?
No, not really a basketball fan, but my sons, back home, they we always kind of tease each other because of Miller beer, and that was our last name. So, it was always like, hey, it's Miller time.
Another time.
And so coming over here for that derby, me and Jester, we decided that we was at Charlie's house, looking at chickens, and that's when we decided we would just say J.P. Miller time.
Yeah.
And so, and I was glad we did. That was that's a good name.
It's a catchy name,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
it carries your family name. So
Yeah.
so there. So before we go, we'll talk more about the Philippine Breeders Festival. Did this event exceed your expectations, Sir Dan?
It really did. I knew it would be a good event, but when I got here, I couldn't believe the people. It was really it was a wow for sure.
So you're impressed with?
Oh yeah.
I mean, 8 a.m. people were already outside, queuing outside, waiting to get in, even if they know that we'd open at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And testament to that fact is you sold all of your 10, in, like what you said earlier, less than 2 hours. So that's a kind of that's a kind of passion that we Filipinos have for our game fowl. So what can you say about that?
It's always nice to see that. It's like I was saying earlier. When you see people that's that passionate about something, and it kind of hurts your feelings not to be able to have more, to share with them. And that's the reason I was saying I'd already told myself, I should have brought more, but this was, like I say, testing the waters, and you never really know what's going to happen. But since I know now, I'll make sure that I'll make sure I get enough here that I can share.
Maybe you can
with
bring
other
around the
people.
100 next time.
Yeah, maybe so.
Maybe. Yeah. How much did you sell each of your?
The brought were all 1,200.
1,200. $1,200.
Yeah,
USD.
US.
So, yan mga kaibigan, yan ang presyo ng manok. That's a price of the brood fowl from Sir Dan Miller. Maybe next year, in the next Philippine 2026 Philippine Breeders Festival, you'll bring 100 or more.
Yeah, I'll bring more, to make sure that everyone,
Yeah.
that wants some can try them.
Yeah, we can bring the roosters in tranches, 30, and then for the first day, and then another 30 in the next day, and then
Oh, yeah.
40 in the last
Yeah.
day. Yeah. So,
Yeah, that it was kind of a learning curve for me. So I learned a lot, today how things work here. This is the first time I've ever, had chickens at an event like this. So, I learned a few things. So I'll get better and have more, have a better selection and have more for other people.
So I'm sure more Filipinos will be more excited for the next Breeders Festival because they know that you'll be bringing more.
Oh yeah.
Because the demand is so high, but the supply is so low. So maybe
Yeah.
we can increase the supply. So
Oh yeah. Well, as far as the amount, that I raised, that, I had plenty for that, but I just didn't really know what to expect
Yeah.
once I got here. And, like I say, it was a spur of the moment thing too, that I just kind of got in there. But I'm really glad that I did. And, always coming to an event like this and meeting new people, and, that's kind of right down my alley anyway.
do you consider yourself a rock star now in the Philippines?
No, I don't really consider myself that, but I do. I really enjoy young people that comes up that are going to grow up to be cockers, and then when they come up and want to, shake your hand or something or get an autograph, that always makes me feel really good. Just knowing that they're going to grow up and step into my shoes.
Are you flattered when people call you by your full name, that they know you here in the Philippines?
Oh yeah, yeah. It really surprises me, But like I say, it always makes you feel good to know that people care enough about what you're doing to even remember your name. So it is flattering.
Or before we go, any parting words would you like to greet a few people? Would you like to acknowledge your friends here in the Philippines? You have the floor, Sir Dan.
Yeah, I really do. I would like to say thank you to all my friends that I've met, even my future friends. But you know, an event like this right here, if you had never been to one, I'd say come out, go through. You'll have the time of your life. If you like chickens, you'll have the time of your life. You can bring your whole family, go through. If you see me at an event like this, please stop and talk with me. That's one thing I will do is talk to you. So, you know that, and of course, you know, with Christmas coming up, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas for sure.
Merry Christmas to you, Sir
Thank
Dan.
you.
It's always a pleasure having you here. It's truly an honor. Every time I see you, you're such a joy to talk to. So
Thank you.
for the lessons that we learned from you. We learned a lot in terms of nutrition, health, cleanliness, the important things in a farm. So that's our takeaway for our audience. So maraming salamat sa lahat ng nakinig sa ating episode 29 ng Larga na Podcast. Of course, it's Miller time with Mr. Dan Miller. Thank you very much and see you again.
Thank you.
2026, you'll bring more than 100.
I'll be there.
All right. Thank you very much for
All
that.
right.